Way scholarship every year, and it's a lobster dinner. It's all you can eat. Made lobster, pulled pork, side dishes. There's a bowl drop raffle.
To the someone.
Raffle for money. So there's tickets for that, for the raffle are $10 each or $5 $30. The dinner is now online at $125, but you have discount code every year, you can get it for 100. So it'll be on Saturday, May the 20th at Cover Tree Park. This in Old Town Shelton. We'd love to have you join us. All the information about tickets and buying all those items I mentioned and sponsorship is online. It's at monster.com. So there's flyers here. Thank you. Thank you. There's like a ticket for like 30 tickets. Okay, before we get going, let me just let everyone know that you. Okay. We're going to start the meeting as we always do with the pledge of allegiance. Flag right here, please stand. And maybe you want to lead us to the pledge. Sure. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic under God, indivisible.
Okay, as we customary do it, we usually start off with introducing my board. And I have Erwin and Celia at the end. Very good. Really good. I say last name. We have Martin Rodriguez. We're somebody. We're calling. Thank you. My Vice President Evangeline. Okay, we're going to start off with our first meeting, our first topic tonight from the OCFA. I'm going to go up and actually get nothing. They actually have a program that talks out about have a tool like I do is worthwhile. Be cautious. Yeah, so we're so cautious.
Hello, everyone. I'm the college chief, Chris Goco, of Orange County Fire Authority, served in the city of Canana. I've been with Italian Knights in November, recently promoted, and I'm excited to be here in Service City. I'd like to start off with sharing a video highlighting the OCFA services here in the city of Canana.
Is this something? Robert, I did. It's loading. It is, but there is no sound. There's no sound. Sorry.
I apologize for this not working, but you guys can watch the video and then I'll discuss.
Robert. No, I'm not doing that. I don't know. It keeps freezing. I think.
Okay, we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. If you don't mind. The video is intended to highlight a lot of the resources that are available in the city of Santa Ana through our regional fire service model. It incorporates our engine truck companies to our our task force, our wildland resources, helicopters, bulldozers, our hand crews. We have our cadet program, one of which is run out of station 75 here in downtown. So with our regional approach, there's a lot of additional services that are provided in the city. But they provide the primary response for fire prevention and emergency medical services here in the city. We currently have 10 fire stations in the city. Along with those fire stations, we have 9 engine companies and 3 truck companies, including 1 hazmat squad fire station 79. Currently, we have 157 full-time employees that are serving the city, and we have 1 education specialist, which is Department of Cardenas here. Her main focus of her job is community outreach. So she provides a lot of programs that go on in the city. Our crews go out to the schools and do school programs. She's there to join them. She helps get the crews to interact with the kids on their level. Provides a lot of community outreach for things such as our holiday events, working through fireworks programs, ground prevention, possibly during this, so the department takes care of at that point. Pictured here on this slide is Division Chief Jim Henry. He is in charge of the entire division, which is Division 6 for OCFA that serves the city of Santa Ana. He's our main liaison with the city council and mayor and all the things that we handle. You can go on to the next slide, please. This here is your 2022 response data. Here in the city of Santa Ana, serving approximately 308,000 residents, covering 27.35 square miles. In 2022, we had 40,204 responses, of which 739 were fire related. EMS responses, which takes up the large portion of the services that we provide, was 22,845 responses. We had 112 community outreach events. So that's a big accomplishment for us as a battalion, getting out in the community, providing that outreach. Obviously, coming out of the times we've had the last couple of years, that number has been increased significantly over the last 6 months to a year. So we're able to get out to the schools and provide all these programs once again for the community. One thing to note is the amount of responses here in the city of Santa Ana. Santa Ana is obviously one of the most populated cities in Orange County, and along with that comes an increased emergency medical response. So year over year, we tend to see an increase with that, and it's continuing to trend over the past couple of years. Next slide, please. This slide here, on Saturday, June 3rd, we're going to have coffee and donuts at Fire Station 76. All of you are invited out to join us. They're identified as well as the Chief Henry will be there. The free event, the chance for you to come out and meet our firefighters is greatly appreciated. All of you can come out and join us. There are flyers located on the back table. You can grab on your way out. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to our community education specialist, Jordan Cardenas, which is in the our ground.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So in addition to the flyers that we have on the third event for donuts and coffee at the station, we'll be able to see all that. We also have some water safety information at the back. We'll be able to take some to share with your friends, your neighbors that aren't here today. But so drowning, the number one drowning that we see are ages 5 or under. So if you ever see that anyone is missing, any child that's under 5, you want to first check any water courses. They can drown in anything as shallow as 2 inches of water. So look out for anything like bathtubs that have filled with water, pails of water, toilets, anything of that sort, or pools, of course. And so with that, we'll go to the next slide. We encourage, of course, barriers, but also you can see on this slide, drowning is silent. So unlike the movies where you see a lot of screaming and shouting, it's not like that. It's silent. You'll see actually people trying to fight for their lives, but they're actually underwater and in the position that you see on the image right there. And they'll be bobbing their head and tilting back with their mouth up, trying to get up above the water level. So next slide, please. So I know a lot of us might enjoy going to the beach. I know that I don't go to the beach. And one thing that we want to remind everyone is rip currents are a big cause for drowning that we see. So if you're caught in a rip current, you want to make sure that you stay calm and you swim from parallel from to the left or right if you're ever caught in a rip current.
It's like, yeah, it's the sound issue, right?
So I'll send maybe some links are actually uploaded to the OCFA section, the fire section on the City of Santa Ana website, so that I can reference that later. I know it'll say something soon, but not the same. Remember the script, we were on the beach and we thought. And then it goes into describing the rip current, it's kind of the brown area and we show that. Yeah. So as explained, if you see someone drowning, you want to make sure that you get help. Help. For lifeguard, that might be different if you have that in your background. Next slide. Okay, so again, if you see someone trying to jump in, and if you're at a pool, get an item that can help, such as a pole or a rope that can be or out of the water. Next slide, please. And we, as OCFA, recommend the ABCs of the water safety. So A, for active supervision, anytime that you're at the water, make sure whether it's at the beach or poolside that you're actively watching the water. Distractions are cause for drownings. Also make sure that we have barriers in place that protect kids, keep them from going into the water. And last class, that here in the city, we're starting the aquatics program again, and good news, they're taking enrollment now. So as we speak, you can sign up for lessons if you haven't done so already. And then the last slide, as a reminder, we just remind everyone to never swim alone. Of course, the second highest number of drownings we see are in ages 50 and over, which we don't see anyone here that looks over 50. But if you know everyone, so everyone. More information on water safety, and also in addition to the events that's coming on the 3rd, we also will be at the Dia de los Niños and Niños this Saturday, the 29th, at the main library for anyone that would like to come out and see the fire truck or engine. Also, we'll get the public works event on the 20th, and so hopefully if you're out there, come by and say hi to us. We'd love to say hello, take photos with you, and make it a fun moment there. So thank you all for your time. Thank you. I mean, they all have them. There are ones that have more, but they all have them, and we just recommend, of course, everybody's safety, light towers, always as a precaution. Thank you. Yes. We have actually, I believe we do. If do you mind taking a picture of my contact? Yes, and you send an email. I'm happy to share it with you guys. Be out there and see, look, they make our day as well, so thank you. Well, I don't know, I didn't think about it.
Student hat, stood out in Michigan. Getting the barbecue sauce in the refrigerator. Looking at a table all the way up to my, but I had them secured. Before I got that refrigerator. I opened that table. I could just get how many times. Straight in front of. Out the kitchen. Needed. You had 5 steps. You can't say. Funny part, is that you saw his pretty once, you saw me. Fast, how quick it is. Any questions on fireworks? Someone? Yeah.
So as far as, the fire department goes in dealing with fireworks, main focus is on, which. Lights and fireworks. And then the enforcement side comes from law enforcement. So we try to, get out there every year around the 4th of July, we put on a full media event at our headquarters, which is often broadcast across all the news channels as well, all our social media sites and everything like that. We talk about the dangers of fireworks, obviously explosions and things like that. That's our main focus as far as the fire department. Yes, ma'am.
The thing is they're getting louder and louder and louder, and it's scary. And that's just one. Kind of,
Absolutely, and I can see where they can be a nuisance, as far as that goes, but our stance as far as the fire department goes is that it's the education. So, if you're talking to, outlaw them or get rid of that, happens at the policy level, that doesn't fall under our category. Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
I got a word with the place from the fireworks. I go, He's a, what is his CEO? He's Solomon from the. Compensators. Or now.
Liquor.
There's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
And then the things right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, give me one second.
Hello, everyone.
Is this for her presentation? Okay, give me.
I am the former principal of Madison Elementary School. I made the decision to move to the district office, and I'm now the director of family and community engagement.
think about things that happen throughout the district, as well as what's happening in the individual school sites and the successes that we've had, and answer your questions that you may have. And the first thing I want to highlight is that we were selected as one of the best communities for music education by the National Association of Music Emerging. And music teacher.
Okay.
Wonderful musical, we could never been successful musical, we need to work on the Broadway production. I got to see Les Mis for the first time at that and I. I saw one of my third graders who now and just to see how he's grown from an English. To have one of the musicals. We're in Santa Ana Music. And now lots of programs this summer, which I'm also going to talk about. It's like music.
It was work, the clicker was working right now.
Just click on.
I think I have to look from back there.
Okay,
Click on the window.
And the next slide that you're going to see right now is that our superintendent, Jerry Almontadas.
It's 'cause it's like two different
was recognized by the
things.
Santa Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
as a difference maker.
I got kind of tonight. Alright.
And on top of
Yeah.
that, we had this week we also received scholarship from the Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce. We're very grateful for everyone who supported our students. We have students that are going everywhere from Harvard to MIT. We all look at, because we're going to start posting where our students are going to be going. And next,
Yeah, so
McFadden has been named as an Avid demonstration school. Avid is advancement via individual determination. It's a program that teaches kids strategies like organization skills, time management. They teach them how to take Cornell notes, where they write the important notes, and then they reflect on it on the other side. And we've been selected as a demonstration school, so others will be coming out to see what we're all. It's like 46 of our students received over $52,000 in scholarships from the Santa Ana Public Schools Foundation this year. We wanted to highlight that. We're having open house. You guys are missing it because tonight is going to be the school open house. I'm missing it too. But parents get to come out and see the exceptional work their students are doing. Graduations are coming up and we've listed all the graduations and where they're going to be so everybody knows. And I know it's at the bottom of that high school to be determined. Maybe at Santa Ana Stadium, or maybe at Southback High. So they're still trying to get it. The first time they got graduation at Southback. Also wanted to let you know about a lot of different facility summer projects. A lot of people don't see the entry, but that means the schools are safer. We want to make sure that the schools stay as possible. We love we have over 20 schools to offer food distribution. Next, we're going to apply to the next one, because like a previous slide. So we just want to let you know. At this time, And then there's the musical that we're gonna be having. So, we- And we also and we have, throughout the- and, also want to let you know. May 18th, we have our top teammates event. May 29th is a holiday to Memorial Day. June 1st is the last day of school. When the kids will be off for the summer, but our summer programs will be June 6th. And we'll return back to. August. Always. You have to see website. Thank you.
I can have one question.
Is it about the cow?
Is your favorite? Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna do the story. We want to grow. 20 miles, 100 miles out of Michigan. They got involved in 4-H, that cow by name Lava. And instead of raising for 4-H, Dad was hired. I don't want to be involved. I thought it was good, so they gave me more. Say a few words.
Hi, I'm Alberta Christie, and this is education, and I told him I need no favor, so he owed me my. I'm on the foundation board at Seminole College, but great news for you. I looked down on looking at scholarship application. We're giving away this year, 159 donors, $830,000 in scholarship, next month. So, you know. And more than because of success at Bennett College. Oh, no, now 115 community college, we're now number 3 in the state. And well recognized throughout the United States, we're the only college, community college, that have double-digit enrollment. Everybody else have negative. So the governor wants to know what we do, to know how to do things, right? If this goes. In addition to us, our dual enrollment for high school and college, modern day. Community center. Big step forward. So, little college, 17th and Bristol, is now nationally known for its education excellence that we have. Total right now, 47 students. At our college.
I had one student that graduated with their degrees at the same time, and then they go on to four-year university. Their bachelor's degree, which is something we didn't have when we were young. It's nice having that. And the second is Canada College in offering lots of heritage classes. I'm happy to say 5 of my parents at Mass graduated with their GED. So,
But the governor has said, I want everybody to educated. Okay, we've already always have had a bachelor's degree program in occupational therapy. That 4 year is under $10,000. We graduated due to COVID, over 66 students with a bachelor's in that. You know how much we started? $96,000. No college debt. How many of us could say that? I would say. Now, they're going to be offering more bachelors, and we're looking at applying for engineering technologies, cybersecurity, and robotics. Okay, in training 4 years, $10,500. Okay, and it's amazing from starting out, especially if you can repair medical equipment. You're starting out at a minimum of $85,000 to $150,000. So community college is the big us the future. So, and we're talking about overcoming poverty. Yeah, okay. Need to retrain and the kids going there. Number one, to get the job skills that are going to be out there. So forth. Education. I always said education is going to keep the poverty, the injustices of people saying, and here, you can, I don't care what color you are, you've got the skills. You're going to exceed because the jobs are there, and that's how you're going to break that. Okay, so be surprised, be very proud, and then accomplish, okay? All right.
One last question. Terry.
I don't know yet. It's like a teaching. COVID. Everything goes back to COVID. Okay. I think they're, looking for somebody to take over, but I don't get it.
Yeah, we took 4 years. This show $2 piece. That's $2.
Thank you.
We're very fortunate tonight to have Justin Brown, talk about rent control in the city, what's happening in that. So that's, I found something that I didn't know.
Mike Garcia, the Community Development Director for the city, and I'm very proud of my Housing Authority staff and the Housing Division staff, and Justin Brown. A year and a half ago, our city council adopted the rent control plan. And they've been mediated the community development part to implement the program. And you're gonna hear a lot more about that tonight, about the rental register, what that will be for landlords, and we're here for any questions you may have. You guys want me to do anything more other than introduce you to? And I've got Sarah Ford here as well, who works in our housing division. And they've both been so instrumental. Also, I want to point out that Maricela Marquez, Maricela, a lot of our outreach going out into the community, talking about the program, especially with those who need to hear it in Spanish and understand how the rent control applies to them as tenants, or even if they're landlords. Turn it over to the staff.
Well, thank you so much. Inviting us here for this tonight on our as Mike said, my name is Justin Brown. I serve as our housing manager. I've been with the city for over 8 years, and absolutely enjoy serving our community, serving all of the potential residents, and it's a privilege to be here. We have a about 15 slides to go through with you tonight to describe all the components of our ordinance as briefly as possible. Then of course answer your questions regarding the ordinance. So as Mike mentioned, back on October 19th, 2021, City Council first adopted our original rental stabilization ordinance and just cause eviction ordinance. I've been on this journey since that date, in terms of administrating, fully responsible for administrative managing the implementation of our ordinance. And on that date, it was the direction of the city council to conduct further research on what needed to administer rent control in our community, rent stabilization in our community, including the operation of a rent stabilization board, a renter registry, and all the related costs. So following that direction, we then contracted with the consultants by the name of RSG to complete a study on all of the working components, framework, and infrastructure needed to implement a rent stabilization ordinance. And next slide.
I changed it. It's on slide 3.
Okay, great. So essentially, we set off on looking to learn all about rent stabilization ordinances across the state, analyze every jurisdiction that has an ordinance across the state. There are several, and then came back on September 6th of last September with a long-term implementation plan for the implementation of our city's new rent stabilization ordinance and just conviction ordinance. Following that, City Council authorized staff to begin drafting amendments to our ordinance to incorporate all the working components, rental registry, rent stabilization board, petitions, all the working components of a city's ordinance that were based upon best practices from all of the other jurisdictions and ordinances across the state. And on October 18th, City Council adopted that amended ordinance. So we're here tonight to describe that amended ordinance to you. There's a lot of details in it. We've tried to compile it and make it as succinct as possible for you. And I'm going to hand it off to our housing program analyst, Sarah Ford, to provide you with that.
Okay. Period. Next, for CPI is derived from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it measures the percentage change in goods and services. So, as an example, say the CPI increased by 10% over the previous 12 months. 80% of that change would be 8%. Since 8% is greater than 3%, the maximum allowable rent increase for that year would default to 3%. On the next slide, it details one of the key provisions of the rent stabilization section of our ordinance. So limits on the amount of rent that may be charged does not apply to units that are expressly exempt under Costa Hawkins or the California local only residency law. So the ordinance is not in conflict with existing state law. Only one rent increase is allowed in a 12-month period, and it cannot exceed the allowable rent increase for that period. The city publishes the maximum allowable rent increase no later than June 30th of each year, which is then becomes effective September 1st. And shop for yeah, so that determination coming up on June 30th. With the event, it'll be the ordinance applies to select residential properties within city boundaries. In particular, limits on rent increases only applies to residential buildings built on or before February 1st, 1995, and mobile home parks established January 1st, 1990. The rent stabilization ordinance, and now we discuss provisions, justify eviction provisions to be aware of that apply to most tenants that continuously occupy a residential. The ordinance requires the amount of and the ordinance includes retaliatory eviction protections and anti-harassment provisions. Tenants can only be evicted for reasons, which are into two categories: at-fault or at-fault, and on-site entities. At-fault eviction is when a tenant has broken rental agreement in one or more of the ways that are listed here. Most commonly, failure to pay rent, conducting criminal activity on the property, things like that. At-fault eviction causes are based on the actions or activities of the renter. No fault evictions, on the other hand, are when the eviction is not based on the actions of the renter. For reasons like the owner wants to occupy the unit or have one of their relatives listed here occupy the unit. They want to withdraw the rental property for at least 24 months. A government or court order requires them to it as a rental property, or they have an intent to demolish or substantially remodel the property. As I mentioned earlier, under a default just cause termination, the owner must provide 3 months of relocation as a waive payment of the final 3 months person. So, certain properties are exempt from the provisions of the ordinance, and these include housing that was built in the previous 15 years, dormitories, some alienable separate properties. And I want to provide some clarification on this one, as the verbiage should be pretty confusing. Alienable separate refers to a standalone property that can be sold on its own, such as a single family home or a condominium that's owned by an individual and is not owned by a real estate investment trust, an LLC, or a corporation. And then finally, Section 8 or D restricted properties for affordable housing. There are few exemptions. Exempt from this ordinance, but we definitely encourage you to refer to the full language of the ordinance, require information about exemptions, or to reach out to us. We can kind of talk through specifics of your property and it will be exempt. Now I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Jonathan to talk about our program and priorities.
So the amended ordinance became effective in November, and like we said, it authorized us to establish a rental housing board, rental registry program, fees review, that actual implementation, enforcement monitoring of the ordinance. It created additional petitions for landlords and tenants, and it'll create voluntary mediation services along with other communities. So relative to administering and paying for this ordinance, A rental registry fee be determined by city council to fund the cost, implement, administer, monitor, support, and enforce all of the provisions of the ordinance. Current highest priorities of our program include the creation of a rental registry, which we've been working on since the ordinance went into effect on November 18th, and of course, the formation of the rental housing. Regarding the rental housing board itself, the board responsibilities include the board responsibilities will include presiding over hearings and appeals, promulgating and implementing policies and procedures, and fulfilling any other duties necessary to implement, of course, the provisions of the ordinance. We also support the board for their authority, similar to how we support our commissions and our staff support, of course, our city council. And the board be appointed by city council and be made up of 3 tenants, including at least 1 mobile home tenant, 2 landlords, and 2 at-large members who are not owners. We have a lot of resources on our webpage. We've done much work as possible to ensure that our webpage is fully comprehensive, both the tenants and the landlords, and all the information that we can possibly provide regarding the ordinance, including frequently asked questions in all 3 languages, infographics that we recently created, standardized notices in all the languages required by the ordinance. Of course, copies of the ordinance itself. I mean, we have put as much information up there as possible so that we become the one-stop shop. So we're not able to answer questions in presentations like this. We have a great web page that has all this information available to the community. Of course, if any tenants or landlords have any questions for us, we've been answering questions for tenants and landlords since the adoption of this ordinance back in 2021. We have a dedicated phone line, with a dedicated web email address, and our staff are fully available and to serve tenants and landlords for our city system. With that, we do have our frequently asked questions at the back, along with our infographics and a couple of our business cards. And we're excited to be here to answer any questions.
I have a question. I'm a landlord. Like, it comes from the city, is that? And.
Business license.
Yeah, it's kind of like business license, but it says that if you have a rental property, they come in and they check, you know, if you're doing everything right, if they have a nice road, and, you know, anything to help the person who grants, which I, yeah, is that?
That is so the building for the Steve. And that's administered by the agency. And we are trying to figure out how to align our program with that bill. But that's a
It's not, because I just needed clarification that when they do this part, that amount of money, what do they do? I've never had anyone come in and look at my house, so, you know, because I really want to get compliance. It's one of the rental. Errors are in.
So,
Okay. You know,
planning buildings.
We don't allow everything.
sure. I'll just read you what you say. No, I just so you know, I today. And I'm still in my email. Negotiations with these people. It's I'm like, well, okay. So I'm not.
So there's a couple of things to that, and I was just letting you know.
Thank you so much. Yes. That they increased their rent twice this year. So we commonly on a daily basis, we have different concerns brought to our attention. So if you wanted to take our contact information, we'd be glad to look into that specific situation.
Yeah, I wish they, you know, the whole amount that I can give it to someone that, you know, like, she's kind of like me and you get my deposit. And you know, like, right, you know.
Yeah, I have just two questions. One is, after July 1st, when you get some of your data that you're out collecting, will you know how many units in Santa Ana are impacted by rent control versus all the other units that are in Santa Ana? And the other question is, have you guys considered restricting the rate increases to those landlords that have rent control on their units, on the utilities, to the same criteria here? Because over time, I can see the landlords slowly getting eaten away by this as the city continues to raise utility rates and other fees and things that they're going to be impacted by.
Great question. Thank you so much, Joe. So, on July 1st, we are going to be rolling out the rental registry. And so it will take about 9 months, 6 to 9 months for us to have a solid registry, at least a knowledgeable basis of where we can report back to you and say, these are the number of units subject to our rent stabilization ordinance, these are units that apply to. So that's just a part of implementing the rental registry process. So we would need that the first year of implementing the rental registry to have time to.
So how are you going to know if someone is actually registered versus they decide not to register?
So when we notify a landlord that they're required to register in our rental registry, they'll need to go in there and if they are exempt, then they would apply for an exemption, right? If they're not exempt, then they, of course, they would fulfill the registry requirement, register their units.
So that goes out to all rental units throughout the city then?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Your second question, relative to the utilities. We didn't this was not a step-driven ordinance. It was a city council ordinance, and city council adopted ordinance. So we're following city council direction regarding the ordinance. Obviously, it's something you could bring up to us, our city council.
Okay.
Can you restate what kind of properties are exempt and what kind of properties fall under the rental stabilization? So is it apartment buildings, duplexes, single family houses and condos exempt?
Great question. Yeah, that's a common, very common question.
Infographic in the back, and yes, then as you do, whether or not these may be covered in the ordinance. So we essentially but so the exemptions of the governments include help newer adult housing, but housing that's built in the past 15 years. And then most commonly, what we're getting questions about are those single family homes and condominiums, which are considered, called in the ordinance alienable separate, meaning they can be sold separately from any other dwelling unit. Duplexes, maybe, if the owner lives in one of the units, at the beginning of the start of the tenancy. There are broad exemptions, and then there are some that get very like nitty gritty. And a lot of times we'll, talk through it with you over the phone, if you want to give us a call or send us a notice writing your property, and we can kind of guide you to the language that may be relevant to your unit. But most commonly, those units that are going to be exempt are the newly built and then those alienable separate properties that are owned by individuals. And then some affordable and deed restricted properties in the city. But yes, most multifamily larger apartment complexes that were not built in the past 15 years, this would be covered by ordinance.
I don't just interrupt you. I'm with you there. I thought you were quite clear. She asked me, and I'm concerned too about your places. Under this. We are under the ordinance. One unit under occupied. Living one. Separately, possibly exempt, some shared housing. If you live in a shared housing situation, possibly exempt. I would again just encourage you to reach out to me directly and kind of walk through.
How about the rules? Yeah. Are those exempt or they're falling considered that funds?
There are some exemptions for shared housing situations if you. But I would need more details about your.
Landlord has not raised the rent for the time that they've been ready. Happens there.
That being an exemption, we do have a fair that to apply for relief from the cap if they're not receiving a reasonable rate of return on their property. That you can fill out with some information about your unit, and then we work together to see if we can get relief from the cap.
A lot of the landlords rent to develop, that's why the rent is stabilized.
Right.
So will they be exempt?
Will landlords that rent to relatives be exempt?
Yes.
They would need to
If
apply.
the rent not being raised all that time.
They would need to apply for that fair rate of return petition.
Will be
They would need to apply for relief from the cap
Okay.
through a petition.
fine.
Sorry.
No, well, let's respond, I was talking to several of the city council. And one of their concerns is the stabilization. In essence, it was explained to me that is a rent increase by to the renter to pay for the board that being passed to the landlord. So that's the city is raising that, so the city decide how much the landlord. Yeah, so the renter is paying a twofold increase, but in all business, a big increase is always passed along. So can you explain how the city is saying we're gonna pay the rent on renter, so we can pay for the boards, so we can tell the landlord
Yeah.
how much they can raise it, and I said, you understand,
Yeah, I do.
It flows downhill. And along with that, I'm sorry, Sarah, I apologize. When you go. I'm just trying to understand this. So initially, I'm on the registry and I'm required to pay the fee, has to be mentioned, not pay the fee, right?
Yeah, I apologize.
The other thing you said that made me and my peers is someone city side, landlords maybe problem on, I'm sorry, on rent. Who decides what's that?
So.
Like, how much profit? If I'm making, I can understand it, where you have something work for, where I've got an $8,000 mortgage payment, and I'm renting it for $9,000. I can understand you've got nothing to work with, well, I've got to pay it off. And I'm renting it out, and I'm renting it out for $9,000. I would say I can't do that because I don't have money.
It's renting. So you're.
So that is what I heard. What I heard is an ethical problem on rental property. And I'm trying to find out what ethical means. Because if I paid off this first and somebody comes along and wants to offer me $20,000 for it, I'm gonna sell it really, really fast.
So I understand you're having to work. So I'm not sure the context of the but when I think you would. Yes. Renting. The ordinance says that you can increase your rent no more than 3%, lower than 6%. So that's the 4 points of the ordinance. Relative to your other question regarding the rental registry, I understand and respect the argument maybe regarding all fees that passed on to the tenant. What I would point out to everybody in regards to that question is first and foremost is that the fee is established by city council. Second is that the ordinance requires that 50% of that fee So, we had one of our residents asked tonight, about the prep $100 per year, I think it was the resident said, right? So in this case, the prep fee cannot have gone to the landlord's tenant. But in our ordinance, 50% of the rental registry fee can be passed on to the tenant in the month. Now, that is a part of the, what you could refer to as the, right, the responsibility of the tenant and landlord to be in a rent stabilized unit, right? The landlord, tenant together, the rent is half 3% of the 3% of the CPI per year. And in return, the landlord and the tenant pays rental registry, the administration, of course.
Any good information? Need to raise.
You understand in terms of what we refer to as a capital improvement. So landlord in this case has a duplex. They need to install a new roof that's going to cost the landlord $48,000. That landlord can apply for something called a capital improvement petition that would then allow them to pass on that cost, that expense in the form of a higher rent to their tenant, so that they can recoup the cost of that $48,000.
Okay, and that's perfect. I love that. Does this board decide how the landlord can pass that on? Because the landlord. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm trying to actually understand so people out there can understand. Yeah, you can't go more than 3. Well, you said you could petition. Okay, for capital gain. He's shutting us up.
I also wanted to mention the petition, will be available July 1st. We're going to have full out stage finalizing.
Then I could raise the rent what I needed to pay above. It's like a.
The IRS. So we said the boards and we didn't say this, but we ordinance says. The board is looking to the 7 members selected by the city council, including 3 tenants, which includes at least 1 mobile home tenant, with 2 landlords. And what you're referring to is 2 at-large members with no financial interest in and no ownership of income generating. So that means it's 2 at-large members who aren't landlords. That's what that refining language was to say. There are 2 at-large members who could be single-family owner, like any of us here, or it could be a renter. So it could be either or. It's just that those 2 at-large members aren't landlords.
I can answer that. You read about the laws, you read about the ordinances and, because I've been doing it. I've been following Los Angeles, rent stabilization ordinance. It mirror images, a lot of stuff with what we're doing here. And, the capital improvements up in Los Angeles, they limit it to 50% of the capital improvement. So you're not getting all your money back and they spread it out over several years. So by the time you try and recoup that money from a rent stabilization ordinance tenant, more than likely they're going to move on and you can raise the rate up to market rate for that person and they're not going to be impacted by any capital improvement. So I think limiting it to saying they're not going to provide any value is not accurate. So
I'd just like to add to this, council discussion, 2 people not related to rent the industry, but hopefully will bring a fair balance.
They're appointed by a council member, right? So I think the real answer depends on what the council member believes, because certain council members have really strong bias. And they are part of groups of people that own homes and they will have an agenda. So I think they will know what they're doing because they're going to be chosen wisely. I think that's the real answer.
Yeah, to clarify that as well, they'll be appointed by a city council randomly. So a council member won't have the choice to say, I don't want to change this tenant, I want to.
How does that work?
Yeah, so essentially it's going to be a very highly documented random process that could be audited by anybody. We could ask, what's the documentation showing that council member randomly selected their appointment on the rent stabilization board? And then it would be the council member would be notified based on this random process who've been assigned to select the at-large member or the renter or the landlord. I think they were next. Sorry. No, he was next. He's shadowing.
Did you have a question, sir? Yes, I did. One of the, as a member, usually have in the for those 2 people in experience or the single or they may be, they will be advised.
Thank you. And I would add to that as well, that not only will we have our attorney, the staff support to the board, but the board will also be fully trained prior to. No, that's not what I said it all right. So 3 tenants, 2 landlords, and 2 at-large members who are not the landlord. So it could be, the two at-large members, again, it could be a single-family homeowner, it could be single-family homeowner is a great example. It could be a renter. But it just can't be a landlord who's generating income from a property. So that's the requirement. I think you should- okay.
Yes,
Did I answer? Oh, okay.
yes. The partiality to.
No.
And like, we don't allow them, I imagine they would say, oh, it's going to be an Airbnb. Rentals. I think that's why we're fighting the Airbnb folks. But they're saying, well, why is it not allowed in cities? It is in other cities. And then I think we're also fighting with them about people are building Airbnbs. It's guiding their true intentions about using them as Airbnb.
That they take these to
Yeah. And I don't mean to mean Airbnb in any single way, shape, or form, or Verbo, or anything else. That's what the concern was for many years. Training classes are very similar to accessory dwelling units where you build, an extra room at the back of your house or the back of your property to allow for family members. Yeah. Yes. No. I believe our thing that Bill needs is negotiating through a mediator right now about whether Airbnbs are going to be, why are we not allowing Airbnb? Yes.
Okay, we're gonna take one more question. You got a question?
The goal for rent control is to try to help those who have lower incomes to be able to stay in their apartments, not be in a situation where maybe they fall into homelessness. That's the goal, and as far as staff, we're not gonna comment how we feel compared to other. We know that Winter Park may be the next city to consider rent control, and I believe Costa Mesa. We're the first and only in the county.
Because the big question I have.
Is supposed to cover all costs for implementing the program. We're thinking it might end up being $100 a year per unit, $100 a year per unit. And then potentially 50% of that can be pushed off, which could be about $4.17 per unit to a tenant per month. So
that company because it's usually goes up more.
Yeah, so that $100 fee is what we think, that's what staff is gonna recommend. We conducted a rental registry fee study. That's to go into our miscellaneous fee study with the city. And council will approve whether it's $100 or $86 and. But yeah, but we're trying to, the direction was to keep low. And so ours is the lowest comparable cities that we've looked at, like Berkeley and other cities. This will create a level of bureaucracy, I've seen.
Last.
Two categories, either luxury apartments or they're affordable apartments and all of those are new, none of those will not be stuff.
I want to thank Mike. There, the people down back again, what's more.
Love hearing them. I know they're not coming to what we want to hear. And I want to apologize, I'm taking my staff to dinner somewhere near.
Yeah, very good.
We have, two come up. Cat. And, I just saw a picture of cats on Facebook. Of you kissing a tiger. You gotta be brave.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that's how we've been operating for the last. Yeah, so quite a long time. But we'll jump into it. So the zoo opened in 1952. And I'm going to be hitting participants with monkey. So the original 12-acre land donation from state princes. There's the photo of the zoo. The community enjoying this. This is a master plan, very early master plan from 1949 was their first dividing to do. And it's currently evolved quite a bit since then. And originally the property was all orchards, it was all citrus. And it's clear to everything that you see in the zoo now, all the huge trees, all the development, it was all planted since the 1950s. This is the most recent master plan, a little section of it, that was approved in 2018 by the city council. And a lot of input and thought went into this plan and look at how the zoo is going to develop or could develop over the next 20 years and what's working really well in the zoo and what the areas of improvement are so that we can grow, expand on our mission, grow our attendance at the zoo, and grow revenue.
and to reach more people and for be us a better resource for the community and our contributions to conservation programs can be increased, all those different things. So the next one. The zoo is a mission-driven organization. We have a mission statement, and that's really core to a lot of the things that we do at the zoo. And we think about that mission statement as we're looking at programs we offer to residents, programs we offer to students. The way that we develop the zoo, so we're being conscientious about resources and using those resources. The conservation programs that I'll talk about that a little bit later. And just that really drives a lot of the employees of the zoo too. So just like a museum or botanical garden or any other cultural attraction, we have a mission statement. So that's what this slide represents. I'll talk about a couple of the different interesting features that the zoo. I'm not going to go through everything, but this one is the colors of the Amazon bird aviary. Beautiful area of the zoo to walk through and see all the lush plantings and the beautiful colored birds. And it's also a great place where a lot of volunteers start. In fact, that's where Kat and I both started as volunteers in the late 90s. So many of the folks at the zoo did start as volunteers and worked their way into part-time positions and full-time positions, and have a lot of longevity in our team. There's another photo of the aviary. It's probably one of my favorite places. And then this is another area that was developed in the Tierra de los Moncos grassland. And it has Rios y Guanacos, which are large flightless birds from Argentina, and also Guanacos, which are the wild relatives of llamas. Giant anteaters live here. I'm a UCI grad. I here, but UCI grad too. But it's a great animal that we've had a lot of success with. We've had a number of birds that we've been able to work collaboratively with other zoos. We've sent our offspring off to other zoos. We have one offspring in the Fresno Zoo in San Antonio and Dallas, and they've got offspring there. So we always do work with other zoos and aquariums throughout the US on different programs. This is a beautiful photo of our male ocelot, Tiago. And this is a habitat that the Friends of San Andrew entirely fundraised for and help us build. So we're proud of that collaboration we have, and this photo really sums that up. Beautiful cat. This is the area, the flying butterfly aviary that opened last summer. So not everyone has seen it quite yet. It opened in July, and it is full of beautiful tropical butterflies from Central and South America and now Asia too. We have it through the warmer months, and we're officially reopening on May 1st. Every week we get a shipment of 250 butterfly chrysalis from different sustainable farms in other countries. And we hang them in the window, we pin them all, and over the next couple of weeks, the butterflies emerge, we put them in the aviary, and you walk through and just see all of this beautiful movement and color. And we've got some visitors from here as they walk through there, but it's a highly valued addition to the zoo, and we're happy that we're able to get it. It's special.
I want to say that last year, we planted and pushed open, it was stunning. My granddaughter and all my family were just amazed by the beauty. It's stunning.
Thank you so much. And this is free with admission. So if you're a Santa Ana resident, you get it free to the zoo the third Sunday of every month. This is not an add-on. It's part of the zoo. You have a membership. You come during the week and the afternoon when it's really slow, and you can practically have it to yourself. So little tidbit there. We'll go on to the next one. We're talking about mountain yellow-legged frogs. This is one of our really special conservation programs that we're proud of to be involved in. It's one that we've got involved in more recently over the last few years. And mountain yellow-legged frogs are a native species. They're from Southern California. They're endemic in Southern California. Means they're not found anywhere else in the world. No other states have them. And they're highly endangered. A few years ago, they were down to about 200 adult frogs left in the wild. That's in the world, that's all that exists. And there's a collaborative program with the San Diego Zoo, the LA Zoo, the Grand Pacific, and us, and we have a lot of partners, the US Forest Service, the US Fish and Wildlife Service, and we're all looking at ways, how can we protect the species that has persisted in this region for as long as we know. And that is where we came in. We have a laboratory where we head start these frogs. We get tadpoles that have, or we get eggs that were hatched at the LA Zoo. The tadpoles, we take in these tadpoles and then we raise them into small frogs. Which then the biologists go and they release into specific streams in the mountains. The unique thing about this particular population that we're working with is they're native to the headwaters of the Santa Ana River. We're within the Santa Ana River watershed. These frogs are not obviously near Santa Ana, but we're still connected to them. And that's a really important conservation thing. And last year we released the first cohort of metamorphs. And this year we're raising about 150 more. And hopefully, probably August, September, October, they'll be released into the mountains before winter sets in, because the streams that they live in do freeze over. They're completely covered in snowpack. Very technical to raise them, and we've been figuring it out as we go.
And you, I invite the public to go witness the releasing of these really nice frogs.
It's pretty hard to do that. We've invited some reporters, but some of the sites are very remote and it takes a couple hours of hiking to get down to the streams. We pack up the frogs early in the morning and the biologists put them in coolers that they wear on their backpack. And then have to go down sometimes pretty steep inclines to get there. We do have at the zoo windows looking into our laboratory where you can see the tanks and everything going on there. It's interesting in the winter time, we have to replicate the winter up in the mountains, and we put plastic around the tanks to black them out, and then we lower the temperature down to about 40 degrees. And as March comes, we slowly increase the temperature back to about 65, and then bring the light back up. But this is also a project we're hoping in the future we can work more with student volunteers and have the opportunity for them to learn more about this hands-on conservation work and ecology work that we do.
How are you able to determine how successful the planting of these frogs regions is? Are you able to go back and determine if they're growing real well or if they're losing that?
Absolutely, that's a great question. The team we work with at the US Geological Survey has been studying these populations for about 15 years. And they do frog counts every year. Some of the adults that live in these streams have pit tags, tiny little transponders under their skin, so they can actually know that that's a specific individual. They've been seeing it for the last 10 years at this site. New frogs, the little ones they put out don't have pit tags, they're too small. But they know that everything that they surveyed over the last 14 years that they've had, any of the new ones would be from the last year's cohort. So they are trying to get numbers, and that's how they were determining that it was more successful to release small frogs than releasing tadpoles, which is what they were doing. It takes more work, but they were having a higher success rate.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That picture. So this is a picture. Yeah, there was also a picture of our. Some new developments at the zoo. I apologize if you come and visit right now. There's a lot of construction going on, but that's extremely exciting because it just means the zoo's going to be even better in the future. This project is bringing a new habitat for giant river otters. Giant river otters are huge. They are probably 4.5 feet, 5 feet long, and about 60 pounds. Very active, very vocal, very loud. And they're a native species from the Amazon basin, so from the Amazon River. Not the sea otters that we think of that live in the Pacific Ocean. These are not as fluffy, but they They're an important conservation animal that we wanted to work with. They're a very dynamic species, and I think the visitors to the zoo are going to like seeing them quite a lot. It's a really beautiful exhibit that's coming along. There's a glass viewing windows, you see the waterfall, and that's gonna be a spot where everyone wants to take a picture. And overhead, we're trying to, so the monkeys at the zoo are our past and they're our future. And we want to look at new ways of how we share those animals with the visitors to the zoo. So there is a primate trail system that goes overhead over the otters and opens up into a new primate habitat. It's about 15, 20 feet, and it's a mesh tube that's very transparent. It's about 3 feet long, and the monkeys will be able to traverse through the trees. And every time you come to the zoo, they'll be in different spots and doing different things. So that's one element of this project. There's also going to be some great interpretive elements and signage and infographics and little cultural animals that are hidden throughout the site that the kids can look for. Lots of cool things. It's been a lot of construction. Yeah, so the history of the zoo is 50 monkeys at all times. That was the theme. Yeah, we really focus now more so on just the quality of care that we provide them and providing them the best habitats as possible instead of the literal transportation. There's construction. Oh, and this is a crested capuchin. This is one of the animals that will be living in that new habitat. And again, where we can provide that link to science, especially tie that back to our education programs, for students visiting the zoo, we try to do that. This is a species that we have through the Friends of Tenandu contribution. We've been able to support some research in the field in Brazil on this endangered species. And we've also worked with a master's student at UCLA that was doing behavioral observations and published a journal, published in a scientific journal about the finding that she was finding with the species that we have at the zoo. We want to incorporate that work that we've been doing into interpretatives and the programs that we do with kids so that we can really bridge that connection and continue to grow that science, the knowledge about science and put people into scientific endeavors. This is a project, the goat encounters and goat trails that's also under construction at the zoo and our children's zoo. And a request that we have received, I know I've received, and I'm sure Pat has, for as long as I worked at the zoo, and I'm sure longer, is we want to go in with the animals, we want to be in with the goats, we don't want to pet them through the fence, we want to be in there with them. So this project will finally deliver that opportunity. It's expanding the goat animal contact area. You'll be able to go in with the animals. There's some neat elements. There's a tractor that can go on, and there's a little elevated walkway for the goats to go above your heads. And I think it's going to be a fun area for the visitors to the zoo. And it sort of ties back to where philosophy and thinking where we're putting in the butterfly exhibit is that connection to nature and how can we make it closer for people. So you're really experiencing the difference. That's a little bit of the construction going on. Yeah, and in addition to this, there also have been some other different animals coming into the farm, and it's an area that's in process. We're really hard together, the friends of the zoo, and securing grant funding to go into this area from the Grand Theme Foundation. Almost $800,000 in matching grants to go towards that, and a large part of that went into the goat project. Also, we just put in a tortoise habitat in the farm area. We're looking at things alligator and making accessibility improvements because that area is all dirt. And it's hard for people sometimes that are pushing strollers or if you're in a wheelchair or have mobility issues. So we're looking at accessibility throughout the entire city. How we can get that. Yep.
Is there any possibility of expanding the railroad? Because it's a really wonderful machine and tool into some of the other areas, either elephants or not encroaching on the land. But, so you get a chance to see the exterior or the back of the workings of the zoo, like they do at the San Diego Zoo. I really would encourage you to keep that in the whole place.
Yeah, even keeps referring to Friends, we're the nonprofit that supports the city of Santa Ana and the zoo. And we run the trains. We have 2 trains, they're electric. We also have a carousel and Ferris wheel. It's a 50 monkey carousel. So that is our legacy, our heritage is on the Ferris wheel there. But that's a great question about the trains. And we would love to do that. So we are talking about our next, probably upgrade is to take those trains to the next level. They are very old. They're 1950 trains from Glenn Hurlbut, who designed them, the Knott's Berry Farm guy. They were at Santa's Village, if you guys remember that up there. So when Santa's Village transformed, they went up for auction. So that's how we got them. So they're older trains, so we do need to upgrade them. And when we upgrade them, we can fit in like more traffic, do more stuff. So we're doing fundraising. Probably for that. What was that? Yes, that's a very big question also. I'm a Santa Ana resident, I live close to my life here, and I'm very big on having volunteers come from the community, as well as our staff. We're able to hire 13-year-olds, so if you have 13-year-olds at home, I will hire them to work in my gift shop. So they can run the rides when they turn 18. So there are a lot of options for kids in the area that need jobs. I think it's a great first job to work at a zoo. It's a great job. You learn about working for a nonprofit, raising money to help children, help animals, and you get a paycheck. So it's a great first job. So definitely have people look at the website and volunteer. They can volunteer as well with not directly with the we get a lot of questions about that, but just tell them to come and get their foot in the door, start looking at the zoo, and then they'll see where they fit.
There's also another program that I'll mention briefly, the Santa Ana Youth Employment Program. It's a great program that gives opportunities to 16 to I think 20 or so. And one of the sites, the zoo is one of the sites that the Santa Ana Youth employees can work at. We've hired some of our Santa Ana Youth employees in part-time positions and are happy to see them continue to grow as they're in school and learning and going to college. So there's lots of different opportunities for part-time jobs, full-time jobs, so there's of course volunteer opportunities too. We do volunteer orientations every 2 months on even number of months the first Saturday, and then we have different volunteer opportunities as students if you don't want to get that involved. Sometimes we do corporate events. There's different companies that come in and do work days. So lots of different things. So this is looking towards the future, the primates forest, and this is the next big capital project we're starting to fundraise for and starting to think about and plan. And this is really going to be transformative for the zoo, because this will take what remains of the original zoo that was built in the 1950s and completely transform it into this great space that has large habitats for the monkeys, overhead crossings for them, elevated walkway for people to see the animals at treetop level. We applied for a state parks grant a couple of years ago, a Prop 68 grant. And as part of that, we were doing community outreach to get feedback from residents on their thoughts of this project and what elements were really important. The treetop trail was probably the #1 thing, being closer to the animals, larger spaces for the animals, public art, lighting, those all things. So it's interesting going out and collecting that feedback. And as we go further into design, I'm sure we'll do that more. But this is the next project that would remove and replace the last remnants of the original zoo. Some more images of showing public spaces that could exist for events, for picnics, for classes, the beautiful trees. We're really proud of the landscape at the zoo. And the botanical garden that has grown there over the last decades. All the trees in the zoo are tagged, GPS coordinates on every tree, so we know the street and provenance of it. We work with other botanical gardens and zoos to acquire rare specimens that we can plant in the zoo, and really just try to have it be a beautiful place for people to enjoy. Because when you look at an aerial map of the zoo sitting there, there's not much green around it, so trying to make it as nice as we can. They do have, Oak Lane got a little bit of a redo with the development there. And they did put a decent amount of underground parking in those developments, so that has been very helpful. And so far, parking is good. Yeah. We're hoping in the future that we have an overflow parking lot. It's a big curved lot that's on the east side of the zoo that eventually will be able to pave that and stripe it, but they'll make it able to park all cars in it. Because right now people parking in dirt and the next car comes and parks 10 feet away from them, so it's not the best use of space. Education and community programs are a huge part of the zoo. We have a robust and growing program called Community Connections that's funded with some of the youth benefit, the cannabis funding that comes into the city. And we provide different park pop-ups throughout all the different parks in the city. Sometimes, if you've seen that, usually a Wednesday and Friday afternoons. We also work with the recreation centers and do programs in recreation centers. We're about to get a new Zoomobile van to be able to go to more community events. We work with some of the elementary schools and Unified, and we do programs there. So it's a great program that's been developing over the last couple of years. And in addition to that, we offer a number of different education programs for schools outside of Santa Ana. We have schools that routinely come and visit from San Bernardino and Riverside and LA County and Long Beach, all over the place, because there's not another resource like the zoo close by. You can go to the LA Zoo or you can go to the San Diego Zoo, but if you live in Downey, it's pretty far either direction. And the springtime is the busiest time for us for schools. We routinely have 300, 500 children on a Wednesday or Thursday morning. It gets kind of crazy. You can see the buses lining up, but that's such a valuable thing that we're really proud of. And it's neat that this is how this resource in the backyard. You don't have this on for an hour. Some events coming up. This is Brew at the Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk about Brew at the Zoo. This is I would say it's a reimagined. We've done beer tasting at the zoo as part of our Sunset at the Zoo events before. This is the new one that is adult oriented and beer centric. You will come into the zoo, you'll get a glass or an actual glass with a logo on it, and go throughout the zoo and try beers from all different breweries throughout Orange County. So Santa Ana Brewery is represented, Cervecito, which is downtown, they'll be there, and a lot of other great craft breweries that are coming to this event. There'll be some entertainment, and it's on Friday, July 28th, from 4 to 8 p.m. 21 and over, and great date night, or you just want to night out. So it should be a really fun event, and we're looking forward to doing this. A lot of zoos have rolled out for the zoo type events, and they're pretty popular with people that go through. Great question. So we haven't released the cost quite yet. We'll hopefully be able to do the ticketing pretty soon. And the revenue will go to the Friends of the Zoo and as the nonprofit. And ultimately, though, that comes back into the zoo in the way of supporting capital development and supporting programs at the zoo. So it's a collaborative event. event, and it's going to fundraiser, it goes to a great cause, and you gotta have fun while you're there too. This one. You know, it's part of it.
Oh, the part, okay. This is our Black Tie Gala. So once a year in August, the third Saturday in August this year, August 19th, we do a Black Tie Gala. It's a fully catered sit-down dinner, action, the animals come out, you get to see the animals, you get to. Yes, yes. I think we're the only Black Tie Gala in the Ranch County that has, animals that come out and you're able to go through the zoo during the cocktail hour. Then you come into the amphitheater area, we have, dancing, dinner, and Henry DiCarlo, if you know him, he's our MC, and he's really great. And then we do like a live auction also. And all the revenue raised, all the revenue that we raise from everything from selling a train ticket to buying a plush animal in the gift shop or a ticket at Safari, all of it goes right back to the schools. So that's, being a nonprofit. But if anyone's interested, and this is, it's an expensive ticket, it's $375 per person, but that includes, the dinner, dancing, and unlimited drinks. So it's, donor meal, so it's for that. Anyone, it is open to the public, but it is a fundraiser. Anyway, on this is, so our theme this year is Through the Looking Glass, so it's an Alice in Wonderland theme, and it is looking into the future of all these wonderful things that we're doing. And then this. Now we're at Move is doing, this is the community event, so it's 4 nights in October. Santa Ana residents are free. It is a fundraiser for other residents, and it is trick or treating, safe trick or treating throughout the zoo, merry, not scary. So it's for little kids, and it's a cute event, and we also bring out animals, so it's educational. The rides are ongoing, they're all lit up at night, and you can come in costume. And there's 10 trick or treat stations that are sponsored throughout the zoo. So businesses can sponsor those stations also. So it's Santa Ana businesses like that. That's good. Anyway, that's a great event for kids. And, we always say it's kind of targeted towards like 12 and under. It's for the little kids. It's not scary. It's
No. Got one other. Either species day. We do this event later. And it aligns with the third day, which is the banana. Pre-admission to the zoo, you do the butterflies, see all of our construction, and you get invited to party for one.
What was that date?
It's the third Sunday in May, and go remember the off campus. So 21st, yeah. And there's, so Santa Ana Water Department, they come with that information. We also have something called Guardian Edison come, we get, and the past we have the Chief Conservancy, we've had lots of different community groups, experts, and programs, thinking about information. And we have our own activities and crafts, that our education department puts on throughout. Happy to take any questions anyone has. And happy to give you an overview of what's going on too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talked about the park, is it really available?
The parking,
Park,
It's available.
yeah, so the zoo parking is free for people coming to.
available.
Yes.
The apartments always park there.
No, so we actually, that was a problem that we had in the past.
Yes.
With overnight parking, and you would come on Saturday morning, the parking lot would be half full.
Yeah.
We closed the parking lot in the evenings, and, yeah, it's empty when the zoo opens.
And when is it open? On
We open at 10 a.m. every day, and we have our last mission at 4 p.m., and then we close everyone out at 5
What
p.m.
time do you open the parking lot in on?
We open it at about 9 a.m. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Oh,
No, you, send the kids in there, at the goats and all that, you know, the billy goat, they will attack.
Yeah, so we're pretty choosy about the goats that we put in there. We have Nubian goats, which are a really friendly breed. And we work with them. Ours actually, they were showing us a fair and then we got them and we handle them a lot, so they're very friendly. But there can be some, some rough goats.
Cousin had one and it came running around the corner and banged it pretty good.
And Pat did mention something to me when I came in, about a cow. There was some discussion of a cow. I missed that part of the conversation. And I would say, we have a cow at the zoo. It's a Dexter cow. Her name is Abby. She's lived at the zoo since 2006, and she's there every day of the week to see. We do have a cow.
And even the birdies. As you see, we have plenty going on. That's why we brought them. Quickly, most beautiful yard and heroes. We sent the information out to your neighborhood leaders. And looking for returns to come back and award ceremony will be at any of June. It's going to start at 6 p.m. and then a little earlier, so we get through everything. And I also want to announce that on May 26th will be the next meeting here in this room, quality of life. Ask the chief to come talk about crime in the city, and ask code enforcement to come talk about code enforcement. We'll talk about the quality of life in the city. With that, we have a war cry. We have a number. I'm going to go with the last 3 digits. 2, 4, 9. 2, 4, 9.
Not here, next year.
Not here, next one. 2, 4, 2. Got it? Go. Thank you. But there's a lot of good thoughts. Thank you.